And this time we're actually going to be here from game number 1, which is nice as well. As we kick things off. And to the upper right hand side, it's going to be our blue Zerg player from Team Liquid. It's going to be Snute. And down to the one left, our red Protoss player from My Insanity, it's going to be PtitDrogo. So this match was held for us to make sure that we could cast both matches instead of just one of the matches of the losers bracket round 4. And again, the winner of this goes against Wellmere in losers bracket round 5. Both players here, Snute and Drogo, had fairly decent runs yesterday. Obviously, to still be alive, you have to have pretty decent runs. Snute fell down very early in the bracket though, 3-2 against Hero Marine. Someone who actually PtitDrogo then took and then lost to. PtitDrogo actually lost to sort of 0-3. And so Snute was, that's where kind of Drogo dropped down into here. Snute, he had to go all the way through the losers bracket where he took down Guru 3 games to 2, Marine Lord 3 games to 1, and Strange 3 games to 1 as well. So after that loss to Hero Marine, he found his footing and has been fairly, he basically, as the day went on, he got more and more confident in his matches. And we actually casted the end of him against Marine Lord, and it was very, very kind of one-sided. And him against Strange was pretty one-sided for the most part as well. So intrigued to see how he plays here against Drogo. He did play kind of a mixture of play styles against Strange yesterday in the ZvP. He played multiple sort of aggressive styles early on with sort of Baneling busts and stuff. We saw plenty of just kind of standard play as well, kind of fast lurkers and playing with Mutalisks too sometimes. He really did mix things up yesterday in the ZvP, so intrigued to see what the plan is this time around from Snute. As we go into, again, Just Towers game number 1, one of these games I expect to be a bit longer. Actually, the game against Strange on this map with him yesterday was actually fantastic. Snute versus Strange on Just Towers. It was this kind of 25-minute epic back and forth game where you really didn't know who was going to win until the last 2 or 3 minutes. It was really, really, it really was quite intense to the very, very end. It was really sick. It was actually a big muta switch at the very end of the game, or kind of. It wasn't not at the very end, but kind of like 15 minutes in, Snute went for this huge muta switch, and he looked completely dead, but this muta switch brought him right back, and he fought with it for a long, long time, and in the end, he was able to make it happen. Guys, as we're just setting up here still, we do have a quick donation to shout out. Elagos with the $11. He doesn't leave a message, but just donates the $11. So can we get some SHI hearts, please, in the chat for Elagos? Thank you very much, buddy, for the $11. Appreciate the donation. Thank you very much. As we set up with a Stargate to start things off from Drogo. I mean, it's not really the best maps to go Resonating Glaives on, so no surprise to see that Stargate instead of a Twilight Council in the very early stages of this. We see the Adepts starting to shade up towards the upper right hand side, try and get some information, some scouting, and also just sort of pick up some damage, of course, perhaps if you can get in towards the mineral lines. Which is unlikely on Just Taz because he has to dive all the way into the main, which he might not want to do. He doesn't know what's waiting there, and it's at this sort of time of the game where speed has finished for Zerglings as well, and he'll know that just from basic timing, so he doesn't really want to commit this Adept to a point where he's going to lose it. So just some basic scouting checks. There's a third base, and that's about it. Snute has gone Pneumatized Carapace, and we'll use that now to scout with this Overlord. Runs right into this Phoenix, and so we'll just continue to scout around just to see if there is anything else he can pick up on, but there isn't really much else to see. He's going to come in, he's going to see the timing of these gases actually, which is nice, gives him a little bit of extra information, a bit, nice rough ideas to, where he's at right now, and where his opponent is at in terms of, his opponent's at in terms of gas count, etc. Don't think he saw the third base. He did, okay, he saw that with a Zergling most likely, or maybe this was an Overlord over here. No, I think it was just a Zergling. But he's seen the third base, so Snute knows exactly what's going on, goes into the lair and an Evo chamber himself to set on up. Bractimus hitting us up for the 3-month resub as well. Thank you very much. Appreciate the 3 months. And welcome back for another month with us, of course. Thank you very much. Let's see some love in the chat, please, for Bractimus. Wow, we've been live for like 10 minutes or something, it feels like. And you guys are throwing a lot of love my way. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. As we see these links. Just going to be pulling back here from Snute. Pulling back towards that upper right. And as we just see the Phoenix spreading out a little bit just on the Overlord hunt, but of course Snute has pulled all his Overlords back. With that Pneumatized Carapace, he can get them back home to his own side of the map nice and swiftly. As we see that Overlord going to be targeted down. There's that layer about to finish, the +1 missile upgrade, not really a surprise coming in on the Evo chamber. No spawn crawlers yet though, so Snute's going to be punished for that by losing the Queen in this main base. So, going to lose out on this Queen. And we'll see what the tech is going to be off of this lair. I mean, most likely going to be a hard burst den. That's what it is 9 times out of 10 in this matchup. off of the lair tech, so there's the Hydra Den coming in. Now, because it's a Stargate play, we're probably unlikely to see a Spire anywhere in the near future, and any sort of kind of mutalist-based playstyle or meter switches from Snute, unless he gets to this point where he has like a huge kind of 2k gas bank, he's going to make 20 meters at the same time. Maybe then we'll see kind of a meter switch, but that's not going to be something in this game for quite some time. That's one of the benefits from a Protoss point of view of opening with the Stargate. You get a few Phoenix on the map. You have the ability to build Phoenix later as well. You have the Phoenix already out, which you shouldn't really be losing if you control them correctly. And that just means that you're just much safer against any kind of potential mutalist player, which can be something a lot of Protoss players struggle to deal with. It can be one of the very difficult things to deal with as a Protoss player in this matchup. Twilight Council on the way down from Drogo. He's already got +1 on the way from the Forge. A couple of extra gateways being added on as well, so no real surprises over here, just getting set up in towards charge upgrade. I imagine most likely he'll add on. He hasn't got robos yet. He does have one robo, just the single one though. There's Temple Archives also coming down now too, so just setting up into this, as we're just going to be seeing the Phoenix just going to set over to the right hand side and lift up a couple of drones, and the third one there as well, so a few drones being picked away as we see this Warp Prism come in and unload just a couple of these adepts. And of course, see them just continuing to pick away at the worker line. So actually, I mean, Snute's lost a lot of workers this game already. 16 workers killed. Look at this. This is actually some pretty intense, this is some pretty intense, Protoss harassment in the very early stages of the game. Drogo has lost absolutely nothing, going up to 8 Phoenix now. And some good harassment just with this kind of 2 depths in the War Prism, of course, is very nice as well. I'm just going to be seeing this Phoenix just coming in, joining up towards this right-hand side also. A couple of Hydras nearby. Let's see what, 2 more gateways being added on here by PtitDrogo. So a couple more gates being added on. We see +2 missile attacks has started. Baneling speed also starting up as well from Snute. So he's going to be going into a Hydra Baneling composition for the foreseeable future. But I believe PtitDrogo is actually setting up very nicely to realistically deal with that. I mean, he's going into the Storm. He's getting the Zealots with charge. Now, as long as he kind of pulls, the idea is if you go Zealots and charge against Banelings, if you just stop them from charging in kind of faultlessly, you can actually trade pretty well. If you let the kind of Archons or the Storms deal with a lot of the Banelings and then let your Zealots go, they can actually work out very nicely. So it will come down a lot, of course, to the engagement and how well he executes and controls the army. But definitely looking pretty good for Drogo. I love the Storm already coming into the game. It's a very good read on what Snute is doing. And of course, he should have a good read. He's been able to scout kind of endlessly with these Phoenix for some time now. Again, just to reiterate, that's 23 workers killed, 4 Overlords, now a Zergling, and 1 Queen, and still yet to see the first unit of the game from PtitDrogo being killed off here, as these Lings from earlier. Well, they're going to pull back right away. So these Lings, they're just going to pull back towards this upper right side. That Warp Prism still in position to harass, but, well, Hydras are also here, ready to counter that harassment. Phoenix is going to have to be a little bit cautious as well, because there's a pretty decent number of Hydras going to dive in, and there's the first unit of the game going down for PtitDrogo. Trades a Phoenix for that Hydraless kill. As we'll see Drogo just setting up the 4th base as well. Very passive so far on Dusk Towers for the most part, apart from the Phoenix and the the Warp Prism play. We're not seeing major fights or anything like that. And to be fair, this is kind of standard for Dusk Towers. It's not an easy map to engage into your opponent on, so it's not surprising that we're seeing both players happy to just set up for a later stage of the game. Snute maxing out here, apart from the 2 supplies missing, because he just needs 1 extra Overlord right at the end of this. Maxing out, starting to move across the map. A lot of Lings, they'll of course morph into Banelings in the very near future, ready for this big attack. And well, this is where it starts to look, we start to look towards this engagement and how well it's going to go, as we see Overlords here in the main base actually starting to take some damage. Snute going to be hitting the supply block again here momentarily, as then Banelings morphing in, but very far forward, we're going to see a couple of Storms coming down, and they will actually cancel out a lot of those Banelings morphing. Snute losing a lot of his potential in this army already, as we're going to see a couple of the Mauls at the front do get caught off guard. A couple of Banes making their way through. Nice Storms. Going to slow down a lot of these Hydras, and really makes Snute question whether he wants to attack into this. But he is actually cutting his opponent kind of in, into kind of a weird spot, because we see Drogo is stuck on his 4th base, whereas this army is going to now move up into the 3rd. So it's going to force Drogo to attack into him. But man, imagine how different this could be if Snute had those extra. I don't even want to think about how many Banelings it actually was. The Hydra count was pretty crazy here though, and there isn't any Storms left over, so without splash damage, we're actually going to see these Hydras trading very well. The Zealots just melt beneath these Hydras' DPS, and Snute is taking a very, very solid lead in this game. I mean, he's just destroyed the army of Drogo despite the lack of Banelings, and it really just was the kind of lack of splash damage units there to really kind of work their way through the Hydras. Needed some more Storms, needed some more Archons or something along those lines to just get rid of the Hydra count a little bit, soften it up. because those Zealots charging into 20 plus Hydralisks, I mean, it was a lot more than 20 Hydralisks, you know, charging in with either of those Zealots, they just disappear before they even reach their target, even with the charge upgrade. So, very scary as we see this. Warp Prism going to go down, and well, Drogo had a great start to this game, but hasn't been able to make it work out since then, as we see a few Balins already going forwards. This Protoss army is kind of stuck over to the left-hand side, top side of this base. Going to see a few more Balins starting to come through. The Zealots going to be crashed into by these Balins. We see Hydras continuing to target down Lings as well, continuing to take down a bunch of these units. A few more Bins connect in. I mean, that's just going to be a game from soon. I think it was won with that last engagement, really. But this one's just going to finalize that kind of confirm that for us. Drogo going to tap out of the game. Probably realizes he played very well. Up it doesn't. Guys, let's jump into game number 2 of this best of 5 series. We're going to kick it off to the bottom right hand side of Frost with our blue Zerg player from Team Liquid. Let's hear it, guys. If you're going to be cheering on Snute. And to the upper left-hand side, it's going to be our purple Protoss player from My Insanity. Guys, let's hear some hype if you want to see a bit of a comeback in this series. If you want to see things being tied on up in this second game, it is PtitDrogo to the top left. Alright, so, as we set up into game number 2, we'll just be seeing Hatch Gas Pull from Snute. Nothing really too crazy there. I mean, it's one of these maps where you could risk a free hatch before pull, but it's not necessarily kind of... It's a large map, so free hatch before pull is nice, and especially in cross spawns, but you don't know it's going to be cross spawns, you know? You don't know if your opponent's going to scout you early, so just Hatch Gas Pull, playing safe, playing standard to kick things off. And, yeah, just going to be seeing kind of this probe coming in from Drogo. Just having a little bit of a look around, a little bit of a look to see what is happening, what's going on here in the early stages of the second game. Getting intrigued to see kind of the builds from both players, especially Snute though. I think Snute yesterday played so many different styles in the PvZs we saw him in. I'd really love to kind of just continue looking at his ZvP and sort of looking at kind of how he's going to approach this and what sort of units he's going to go for. We actually saw him using at one point yesterday Ultralisks in the ZvP, which is pretty unique as well. That's something you really don't see very often at all. So yeah, pretty interested to see how Snute plays this side. I mean, from Drogo, it's cross spawn, so we might not see Resonating Glaives. This is a pretty good map for Resonating Glaives, again, if you're in vertical or horizontal spawns. We'll see if he does it. I mean, you can do it cross spawn if you want to. It's just going to hit a little bit later, of course. You might go Resonating Glaives with a Warp Prism. It's going to be a Stargate again. That's obviously the other option here. So Drogo, once again, Stargate-based opening. To be fair, it went so well for him in game number 1. So... it went so well for him in the early stages. The issue here he kind of arrived at was a lot later on. It really was. So he's just going to have to kind of, you know, maybe go for the same early game and just find himself the better engagement later, better composition, whatever it may be. But I definitely, you know, I'm okay with him going Stargate again here. I think it worked, you know, early on, it went well enough for him. As we're just going to be seeing the Stargate coming up. Now, what it might be at the Stargate instead is potentially an Oracle or two. Instead of the Phoenix, so that's something we can keep our eyes on as well. Snute about to finish up his Zergland speed as well. Newbotized Carapace also halfway done, and a third hatchery has also been started, as we do indeed see the Oracle on the way. So it's going to be a bit of a different opening then. So we're going to be using the Oracle, probably 2 Oracles rather than the Phoenix. That obviously plays out very differently in the sense that Oracles generally do a bit of damage initially, and then they're more used for map control. Whereas the Phoenix generally tend to do damage throughout the entirety of the game, even after Spore Crawls have been added on. So, differences here, but at the same time, you know, you get a lot more damage done with the Phoenix, but you also don't have to commit as much into 2 Oracles as you do into 5 plus Phoenix. So, you know, it's a bit of a trade-off on either side. Now, Snute does, with this Overlord, already see the Stargate play. He already sees it's an Oracle as well. He actually saw this Oracle flying across the map too. That's not the Oracle, that's an Overlord. That's the Oracle. So he's already seen kind of a lot of this. He's already got some very good scan information. So he's already got Spore Crawls on the way. He starts up a lair. His third base doesn't need an Oracle Spore Crawl just yet because he doesn't actually have any drones on it at the moment. As you see, just another Queen being added on. And Snute positioned well to just kind of push this away. And not take any damage just yet. Drogo doesn't want to take any real damage from this Oracle either. When there's only 2 Oracles, you know, the more damage you take on them, very quickly you'll see them becoming less and less effective. So you see a couple of drones being picked off here. So just playing it safe with the Oracle, just making sure he's going to keep this alive and really be able to utilize it throughout the game for vision, scouting, and whatever else. The second Oracle joins up, and Drogo just moving forwards here. A few drones moving down to the low ground. And after we see a Zergling come up towards the top left, another Zergling here as well, as you see these depths And we're just going to take down with that Zergling. So no Resonating Glaives, just a couple of Oracles and Adepts to pressure here early. Now there is a lot of Lings on the way out from Snute looking to try and defend against this. He's currently got 13 Lings, but against 7 Adepts and 2 Oracles, that's not a lot. I'm going to see immediately here these Adepts coming in towards this third base mineral line. 4 Queens though in position. You see the Adepts starting to shade on through, and well, Queen's going to come forward now. 5 Queens. To target down those Oracles, they go down very quickly to this. As we see the Adepts, they will just shade away. Not going to commit into a base. And actually no real damage done here by Drogo, but at the same time he has forced a lot of units. Snute now back into drones, so Drogo, I mean, just the threat of these units has kind of forced Snute into slowing down his drone production for a little while, and that just keeps Drogo in a fairly close, sort of similar economy position, or economic position, for the early stages of this game, while he sets up into 3 bases and that kind of 70 worker count, which both players will probably be looking for here. Snute maybe going to go a bit higher than that 70 worker count. Hydrogen already on the way down, so fairly similar to the last game once again, just going Hydras right from the get-go. This time he doesn't have an Evo chamber though yet, so he's gone for the Hydrogen a little bit earlier. And he's gone for the Evos a little bit late. He's going to go double Evolution chambers, so Bane S once more too, so he's actually playing Hydra Bane again. I find it interesting, it's kind of the metagame seems to have taken a circle, gone in like a circle in the last month, where we started out all of a sudden Hydra Bane became the way to play. Pros players sort of realized that what they were doing just didn't work anymore against this sort of composition, so they changed up their compositions. And then Zergs are sort of like, okay, well, I'll change my compositions and play different styles. And then pros are like, well, against these other styles, it's better to play like we did before Hydra Bane. And now Hydra Bane's come back because of that. So it's very interesting. What Drogo's doing is going into Blink. And so what he's setting up into is kind of a very good kind of anti-Hydra Bane army. Blink Stalker Sentry is very, very good because the Stalkers can actually tank quite a lot of damage from the Banelings. The Sentries can keep Banelings away as well for a long time with the force fields. The one issue that will arise from this from Drogo is that he has to do something before Lurkers come out into the game. Once Lurkers are out, it becomes very difficult for Drogo to then fight into this sort of, that sort of army, because Blink Stalkers do not trade well at all against Lurkers. They really don't. So that's going to be very interesting here, but you can see this is going to hit way before Lurkers. He's already warping his Stalkers. He's already looking to be a little bit aggressive. So Snute, how well prepared is he to fight against this right now? He's taking down some rocks on his base just to open up some space, give himself a little bit of an easier reinforcement pathway and so on. You can see one extra Stalker being warped in, a Revelation to help clean up a little bit of the creep spread here out towards the front. Snute still has 1 tumor remaining, though, so he still does have some good vision, as he will just set up with this. Well, actually, it's not really that many Balins right now, so he's going to start moving a few more in. And Balin's really looking to connect onto these few Adepts of the Sentries more so than anything else. Otherwise, the Zerglings will actually do kind of okay against the Stalkers. I love the double status sword at the back as well. Going to stop Snute from chasing down this army. So Drogo, when he's setting himself up nicely here in game number 2 to maybe put himself even in the series, but he's still got to execute this fight. As you see, another Revelation coming down, just keeping track of these units. 1-1 about to finish. It's actually +1 melee and missiles for Snute, which is about to finish up here, and it's 15 seconds away. Snute doesn't want to commit to a fight before then if he can avoid it. Nice force field is going to minimize the damage those Balins do. A few do sneak forwards, and actually Snute feels as though he's sort of forced in towards a little bit of a fight here. He just begin to commit into it. Them upgrades for him still not finished for just a few more seconds. There they are now done. And so Snute with those upgrades, does he manage to push this away? As we see a few drones being pulled into this as well. The Hydra's in a pretty good concave to begin with. The Stalkers will begin to blink back. A lot of these Sentries actually missing force fields. They don't have force fields available anymore. Blink aggressive blink forwards from the Stalkers. I think it's probably the huge mistake from Drogo. Why would you blink forwards into these Hydras? Blink back defensively and you're going to trade so much more effectively. He actually blinking forwards also leaves his kind of the area the area of the Guardian Shield, and that's hugely disappointing. And really aggressive blink forwards, and it just does nothing but completely throw this engagement into Snute's favor. Snute will have been very happy to see that, and Drogo will be kicking himself, thinking, well, why on earth did I do that? Just thinking he's way further ahead than he really is in this game. Stalker's going to collect up on this Southern Watchtower. I'm going to be seeing another Oracle popping out here in a moment or two from Drogo, and well, these few Stalkers still looking around to see what's going on. A few Lings moving forwards the Hydras as well. The Stalkers still just having a little bit of a think as to what they might want to try and get up to next. Moving forwards once again. I'm just going to be seeing the Lings Hydras trying to do what they can. A couple of status swords get popped at the same time. Only 2 Lings and 3 Hydras there. They're not going to get picked off or anything. I mean, it really is those status swords more than anything just to slow down sort of Snute's kind of chase if Drogo wanted to retreat. Of course, I'm sure Drogo was imagining if he retreated, it wasn't going to be with just 5 or 6 Stalkers left over. Or 7. Sorry, 7. Yeah, Ling's kicking down Stalker in the center of the map. That lower watchtower goes the way of Snute now, and well, he finds a few Stalkers in the middle. Won't fight them with just the Lings, but I mean, you can see Snute's getting ready to maybe go and take another fight himself. He's already pushing out towards the center very confidently. Drogo behind all of this is starting to take a 4th base. Oracle comes back in, a couple of workers killed. And Drogo, how does he come back in this game? I mean, maybe some big Warp Prism player to kind of really do damage. Does he have a Warp Prism on the map already? Well, no he doesn't. So, without a Warp Prism already on the map, I struggle to see it. Surprised Snute hasn't gone into the Lurker Den, but maybe just realizes he doesn't need it, and so why waste the minerals and gas on it if you're not really going to have to use it to win the game? I mean, this is a big army from Snute. You can see it. You can look at kind of Drogo's army. You can see how many Hydras are there for Snute. And this is, you know, Drogo lost the fight in the last game when his army was a lot larger against this. And now, it really doesn't look very promising for him. Drogo going to have to find a miraculous engagement to come back in this game. So many more billions on the way for Snute. 21 more Morphe. He's already got 24 in the game. I was just going to be seeing the Hydras just going to melt pretty much anything that comes in towards them, because again, there's not really the units that Drogo needs to get rid of this Hydra number at all, and so the Hydras just do so much damage coming towards here. That's going to be GG. And very quickly here, Snute in this series is just picking Drogo. Game number 3 here, it's Frozen Temple. And in the upper left-hand side is the player who's already won 2 in a row, and now he's going to open with a pull gas just because he's being blocked at the natural. It is Team Liquid's Snute. And down the bottom right-hand side, our Red Pros player from My Insanity is going to be PtitDrogo. Kicking us off here with just a gate on the low ground and a Nexus. So Snute went gas pool, or pool gas here, because it was a pro blocking his hatchery on the low ground, so just spending his money elsewhere for now. In the end, he just put that hatchery down, of course, so not really a surprise or anything, not really kind of weird. It happens. It does, you know, you get blocked off in that sort of way quite often as a Zerg player. Of course, Snute's had that happen to him multiple times in the past, so he's not afraid to just go pull gas. He'll have played this sort of opening multiple times. It's not ideal, it's not perfect, but it's something that sometimes you just have to do if that probe comes across the map soon enough. Without giving me a quick moment to tap here, guys, just 3-minute delay means that running ads after a 2-minute break is slightly awkward, because obviously it means I have to start running the ads when we're already in the next game, so just had to tab there for a moment, so apologies for that. Probably could have got away with it without mentioning it, but hey, I like to talk, so what can I say? Yeah, I mean, just kicking off in this game, Twilight Council, so we're immediately going to see a bit of a change up here from Drogo, but immediately Snute actually scouts this, so great scouting right from the get-go from Snute, and I wonder if he doesn't even need to kind of start up Pneumatized Carapace now. I mean, he might still start up Pneumatized Carapace, he might still go for that, but I mean, he doesn't have to, you know, that's what's important here. He doesn't have to start the Pneumatized Carapace, so see this Ling kind of backing away. Nice scout then from Snute, a couple of Lings, and he takes some sort of advantage from having to make those early Lings in this game. That's just going to be seeing the Drones continue coming down to the low ground, mining away from that natural expansion. And of course, the third base being set up is just over halfway done already over this right-hand side here, so third base just on the way up, and yeah, I mean, a couple of overloads is going, maybe looking to go into the main base soon. Snute not spending that gas just yet, so we'll see what he does use it for in the near future. I really hope this isn't another 3-0. We already saw one 3-0 today between Bly and Wellmere. It's always great to get to see more games. And I honestly thought this match would be a little bit closer than it's been so far. It's actually been a fairly well, I mean, it started off really great for Drogo and just towers. He was looking fantastic. Then he, you know, since the first real major engagement of this series, Drogo has just been looking like he can't win. Like, he just hasn't looked great at all, if we're going to be completely frank with you guys. I mean, we're talking about a guy who just blinked into about 20 Hydras on Frost. The guy who didn't lose a unit for about 8 minutes of the game and killed off so much with his Phoenix, and then just completely botched the engagement in game 1. Like, he's not been playing too well in the last couple of maps. So let's see if he can pull this back here. Let's see if he can pull himself together for this third game. Let's see if he can put himself in a position where he can make this happen, where he can make this work out for himself. Let's see a few more Adepts warping in. It's going to be 7 Adepts in total then. They're going to start moving towards the other left-hand side of the map. So 7 Adepts moving towards the top left. The Resonating Glaives is going to be finishing here very shortly. So as that Resonating Glaives finishes, it of course lines up with this Adept attack. And this is why this map is so... People like doing this on this map just because the Adepts hit so quickly. Roaches always scare me when they play against Adepts because it's so difficult to always send your Roaches in the right place to shut this down, and Roaches just seem to do damage so slowly against the Adepts as well. So we already see 3 workers being picked off here, by Drogo, though. He's going to start getting his adepts caught, so these roaches will get some good damage done. In the end, 3 of the adepts do get away. No target fire in by Snute onto the lower health adepts there. Well, he kills off 4 adepts, loses only 3 workers. Not so bad really from Snute, but he had to make a lot of roaches early, and actually he's making a lot of lings now. So it looks as though Snute might just go for a big counterattack, which would be a bit interesting because he is making a lair. He's ready to continue teching in this game. But for now, it looks as though he wants to counterattack. But look at this, Drogo very well positioned. He's got a mothership core forwards. He's got 2 pylons on the high ground. Sentries available. Really nice first 2 force fields means he can pick away at these first few roaches without any real issue at all. 1 sentry maybe going down. But I mean, he already had low energy, so I mean, it's not ideal. But still, I mean, really nice. And we see Snute with a lot of links still being made. He's actually only on 35 workers, so Snute really has to try and make something happen with this. If he doesn't, he's going to find himself in a very tough position. So just opting to go for kind of the, hey, I can clean up your adepts easily, and then I killed so much of your army, my counterattack's going to be so strong. That's the sort of mindset of Snute right now, but he's 20 workers down, he's 25 army supply up. Can he attack in and make it happen? Can he use these Zerglings, these Roaches, these Ravagers, and a couple of Queens coming across the map to take himself a fight that will win him this series? Because it's going to be now or never, really, unless Snute does some major damage here. This game can almost kind of begin to look kind of over as we see the Ravagers moving forwards. Where do we see the Biles dropping? Onto those sentries in the back, and oh no! Drogo sits in the Biles, so he actually loses his sentries. There's a couple of overcharges to the left side. We will see that Immortal being picked away. As some Biles coming in towards the pylons here. They will be picked off now as well. And Drogo in a little bit of trouble in this third base. I just don't think he's got the arm. He's lost power to his robot facility. Them sentries going down to the Biles is actually pretty huge. There's just a couple more force fields to buy some more time on the pylons and the overcharges. Could change so much, and well, Drogo's got 6 army supply. That's 2 adepts in the mothership core. Wow. Well, honestly, that